And we're live. Before we get started, let me remind everybody that we are covered under the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the reuse, redistribution, and modification of this podcast by anyone and everyone except by government and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. And we are on episode 24, which I think I titled New Year, same shit. We got the Beauty and the Beast crew. She's the Beauty on the Beast. Mark and Dan are not here tonight due to
and if you
being
came
little
here
bastards.
looking for Dan, if you came here looking for Dan after I posted that link saying he would be here, he literally just punked out.
Yep.
But he might be back later.
Hopefully, if he can figure it out. If he figured it out, he'll be back on. Well, you know, Dan with new phones, you know how it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We were supposed to do one last week for Happy New Year, but
it was just
Mary Eric again. So, yeah, we're doing it live because we can. We have a viewer. Woohoo!
Yay! Hi, viewer.
So, whoever they are,
speak. Make yourself known.
Yeah. Comment in the chat. Interact with us because if it's just us, we're in trouble.
Kevin said he was going to come on, and then he decided not to. And yeah, we went from full house to two of a kind real fast.
Yeah. I'm blaming the cold. That's what it is. It's the cold you guys are experiencing.
That's wearing everybody out.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough. It got all the way down to 61 today.
Well,
horrible.
Shut up. You know, and I noticed when I came into the hangout that you had a fan blowing in your face.
I did. I have a fan here on my. I did. I had a fan. Like when I first sat down, I had my hoodie on, and I was like, no, it's too warm.
Meanwhile,
took my hoodie off.
I've run like 3/4 of a tank of gas out of my car in the last week, just sitting inside of it to smoke with it running.
because
I can't
cold to smoke outside.
Yeah, and there's a heated seat in there, and there's a DVD player in the front dash. Come on, that's a no-brainer on a really cold day.
Good place to hide from the kids.
Yeah, for real.
And the Kevin.
Yeah. And I got it backed up over by the kitchen steps. So, like, I'm on the opposite side from the house. So even if they come out looking for me, I can't see them. I can just ignore them and say I didn't see them.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like 61 today, and it was like 63 yesterday. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. I actually had to put on pants at one point. It was just, it sucked.
You poor thing.
It was terrible.
You poor thing. It was like 8 degrees last night.
I think we had like 47.
I was sitting in a 104-degree hot tub last night, and my hair had ice in it. I'm not joking. Like the hair down around like the base of my skull, like around my neck, it got wet when I first got in. And then I sat up a little bit, and within like a minute or two, it was all ice. My hair was frozen stiff. And I mean,
That's
like
insane.
I'm in 104-degree water up to here, and my hair was fucking frozen.
That's insane. I don't know. I don't understand. Like that's what it is. That's why Dan and Mark aren't here, because the internet froze.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cold the internet froze.
That's why John Assam hasn't been on either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't even know if those New England people are still alive up there. I mean, shit.
I'm sure John's up there fighting a polar bear.
Right.
Or something. So
climbing, slitting it open and climbing inside for warmth through the night.
Oh, poor John.
I've watched too many disaster movies, read too many survivalist books.
That's Star Wars. What are you talking about?
No. See, I got that before I'd even seen Star Wars. That was in like some sci-fi books I was reading way back in the day.
That's some weird shit.
It is. But I'm drawn to the weird shit for some reason.
We are the weird shit, Derica.
Yeah, well, that's what makes us awesome.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
So, God, I'm totally at a blank.
So what's our first news article that we're
Let's just get it. I got one. Let's start off with a good laugh. Let's start off with a really good laugh.
That's always a good start. Always a good place to start.
All right. Yeah, speaking of California, all right. For you know who Kevin DeLeon is, right? He's the ghost gun guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
About
all right, sells the programming or blueprints for 3D printing your own.
No. Oh, no, Kevin DeLeon is a politician out here in California. He's the guy that said that the ghost guns shoot like a 30 caliber clip per half a second or something like that.
Is he like the bullet button guy or whatever?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
The moron politician.
Okay, gotcha. I'm so bad with names. I'm really the worst.
Legislation would allow Californians to donate money to the state in effort to blunt effects of the GOP tax bill. Yeah.
I have yet to see a government agency that will refuse your money if you want to send it to them. I mean,
yes.
You know how hard it is to get back your money if you accidentally overpay them for something? For fuck's sake.
Yeah. Okay. So, Californians.
I mean, there's a Jew and a penny joke in here somewhere, but.
Damn it, Dan! Where are you?
Right.
Now, Californians may soon be able to make donations to the state in an effort to blunt the effects of the federal tax overall, recently signed by President Trump. Senate President Pro Tem Kevin DeLeon, Democrat of Los Angeles, is planning to introduce legislation that would allow Californians to take a portion of their tax bill as a donation, which would circumvent the federal GOP's tax plan cuts to state and local tax deductions. Charitable donations remain deductible on federal taxes. Quote, for every dollar that a Californian sends as a charitable donation to California, you can write that off. DeLeon said in an interview with CNN Wednesday, it's legal, it's legitimate. DeLeon, who announced his intent to write the bill last month, argued that the GOP tax plan disproportionately hurts California. Under the federal measure, residents can deduct $10,000 paid in state and local taxes from their federal taxes. And the effects of the new cap would be deeply felt in many suburban areas of California where people typically pay more than that to the state and local governments. Though through DeLeon's plan, the first $10,000 would be paid via regular taxes, and people would have the options of making charitable contribution to the state for the remainder. Okay, so this what this is the state the GOP tax plan, because it is a tax cut. That's essentially what it is. It is a tax cut to certain programs and whatnot, to certain tax brackets. Because of that, the state would get less money back from the federal government.
Oh.
So what this bill would allow is up to $10,000 of your federal taxes to be a tax write-off. So you can get a tax deduction for paying your taxes and then contribute on top of your state taxes to the state.
Jesus. This is so fucking circular. Oh my God.
It's
And
beyond. It's not only is it beyond circular. It is absolutely retarded. I have never met a single person that is willing to pay more to the federal government or more to the state government
yeah,
than they're demanded.
right, exactly.
There is an entire occupation based
Dedicated.
on paying as little as possible in taxes.
Yep.
And this
Yep.
guy expects people to pay more? Like
Yeah.
he literally thinks that people are going
And
to
he's like,
like
oh, well, you can write it off on your taxes, you dumb idiots. Because so many people think, oh, it's a tax write off. And for whatever reason, these people don't realize that doesn't mean that that amount of money gets deducted from the taxes that you pay. That's not what a tax write off means. That means you have a shot at bumping yourself down into the next lowest tax bracket. That's all it means. If it doesn't add up to enough to bump you down into the lowest tax bracket, then it was fucking pointless.
yes. Yes.
You know?
I mean, how many politicians, how many rich people live in California? Let's just go. How many rich people we got? We got Silicon Valley, we got San Francisco, we got Oakland, we got the LA area, which is just full of millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, but how many of them claim California as their primary residence? Way
Exactly.
less than there
Exactly.
actually are who live there.
And they don't because
No.
of the taxes.
Right. They buy like a 1-bedroom condo in a location with like the lowest state taxes, and that's where they fucking
Florida,
claim their
yeah.
primary residence.
In Florida,
Yeah.
and Florida has the Homestead Act, so they can't take your house for not paying taxes.
Right.
Right. So
Because they can afford to. They can afford to do that to save
And they-
a buttload of money on their taxes.
yes, that's the whole point. Is they do that to avoid paying taxes.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to voluntarily pay more in taxes.
Right.
Period.
So-
you
so
can call
maybe-
you can call it whatever you want. Nobody is going to pay more in taxes.
So the guy who's doing this, the bullet button guy, he's an idiot for doing
Yes.
this. But I mean, it's going to reduce the revenue for the state of California.
Yeah, he also has
May
a
reduce people's
sexual
taxes.
harassment. He also has a sexual harassment lawsuit against him.
Oh, surprise, surprise. You want to see my shock face? I'll have to pull it out of the drawer. Right now.
Knock the dust off of it.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this guy, Kevin DeLeon, is like he's the California version of oh, what's the lady out of Houston?
Oh, Sheila Jackson.
Sheila Jackson. He's California's Sheila Jackson Lee.
Now that lady's name I always remember because she's so fucking entertaining. She is one of the dumbest creatures to ever walk this planet, and I mean creatures. That includes sheep.
She asked NASA. They were touring the Houston Space Center. She asked NASA if the Mars rover got a picture of the flag planted there by Neil Armstrong.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How does she fucking... She has an assistant that ties her shoes, doesn't she?
Yep.
I was just going to ask, how does she tie her shoes? But I bet she's got an assistant for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, but
everything that comes out of that woman's mouth is fucking comedy.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be funny.
No, she's
dead serious.
mental. So yeah, but back to this Kevin DeLeon thing, this charitable contribution in the state of California. Like, if that is not just a huge proponent of voluntary contributions, of the very fact that there's we don't need the government. That's what I'm trying to get to. We don't need the government to do things. The very fact that the government is asking for voluntary contributions just screams to me that we don't need the government.
No.
Right?
No, we don't. We don't. And he's going to end up fucking proving the case for why we don't even need him. Except, of course, they are still forcefully taking some amount of taxes. So, the example is
Yeah,
poison
that's
already. But
that's what this is. This is the robber holding a gun to your head, saying, give me your wallet," and you give him your wallet, and you reach back in your pocket. "Oh, here, take this too."
right, yeah,
You guy's a
but
moron.
I know.
Oh,
But and that's what we've always said, though, isn't it? Is all these big celebrities who think everybody should listen to them on their fucking socialist politics and shit like that. Okay, well, if you want people to be helped so badly that you are willing to put a gun to someone else's head and force them to help, why are you still living in a lap of luxury? You fucking hypocrite. Why don't you give
yes,
all your money to the poor? Oh, is it different
because
for you?
they won't do it. They absolutely will not do it
No, I
because
know.
the mentality or the ideology and the reality are entirely different things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The ideology that they press is not their ideology. It's parroted. Right?
Right.
They're repeating other people's words again and again and again and again.
It's trendy. I mean, it's
Yes.
trendy.
Yes, it
And
is.
the powers that be in Hollywood, these inner circles that control everybody's careers, that's the shit they want their little puppets saying.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're playing politics in Hollywood too, just like they play in Washington. So
That's what they are. They're puppets. They're mouthpieces. Right? If they spew the propaganda that the elitists want, and that gets them the support, the public support for all these programs that nobody really needs. But because LeBron said we need it, then you got 9 million people going, "Oh well, we most need it because LeBron's can put a round thing through a round thing."
right. Or
So
because Jodie Foster said this about
yeah,
it makes me insane that people listen to these idiots. Like, what's your fucking qualification? Like, oh, you went to drama school, you're a fucking English major, whatever. What's your qualification to tell other people what they should believe? My God.
no,
You pretend for a living, you fucking
that's
asshole.
exactly like they're professional actors and actresses. Like,
Right.
do you really believe that Matt Damon is crying when he does those environmental commercials?
No.
No, he's an actor. He's being paid to.
Yep.
Or he's getting a tax break. He's getting a tax break by doing the commercials for the state or for the EPA.
Or he got a part that he wanted out of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. He doesn't give a shit.
No.
Oh.
None of them even know how to give a shit about anything but themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No.
Well, with a few rare exceptions. There are a few people in Hollywood that I believe are actually good people.
Keanu
Reeves, that's the first one at the top of my list. So
Robert Redford, he'd be on my list too. Mm-hmm. He set aside a lot of private land as preserves. Mm-hmm. Private land preserves, right. Not public land preserves.
Now, Justin Timberlake, I don't always agree with his politics, but he fucking puts his money where his mouth is, So he does a lot of private philanthropy. So, there's a few, but
yeah. So
for the most part, it's a big bag of dicks.
And they can all fucking choke on them.
Yep.
How about speaking of not needing government? Man ordered to stop housing homeless to keep them warm.
Oh yeah, the guy in Chicago that's like,
yep.
They're going to condemn his house if he keeps holding homeless sleepovers.
Yeah, if he lets, yeah.
Yeah.
A Chicago man who has been helping homeless people get out of the cold by offering slumber parties at his home has been ordered to stop helping them. City officials are warning Greg Schuyler to stop offering slumber parties in his basement to homeless people in his neighborhood, or else his house will be condemned. Schuyler told NBC5 he started letting homeless people sleep in his unfinished basement last month during brutally cold nights in the city. He also offered food, warm drinks, and a cot to sleep on while they watched movies.
That's so
Quote,
nice.
quote, I would stay up with them. I would stay up with them and give them coffee and stuff and feed them, Schiller said. He said no drugs or alcohol were allowed inside his home when the homeless would stay there. Molly Sinner, a city spokesman, said they are sleeping regulations for basements, and Schiller's basement doesn't meet those. Quote, while we appreciate those who volunteer to provide additional resources in the community, Mr. Schiller's house does not comply with code and regulation that guard against potential dangers such as carbon monoxide poisoning, inadequate light and ventilation, and insufficient exits in the event of a fire.
What are the sleeping codes for the fucking streets, Chicago?
Schiller said city officials and police came to his house with a warrant Tuesday and were told him the basement's ceiling height was too low and windows were too high and small. He originally had people sleep in his garage last winter, but moved everyone into the basement after EMTs had to come by to help a man with heart condition. Quote, they shut me down and said I have 24 hours. They shut me down and said I have 24 hours to return my basement to storage and take down. I have several cots with sleeping bags for everybody, or they'll condemn the house. Schiller said he made his home available as a shelter when a local one wasn't available. Yes, so this is the perfect case, to quote.
But they can sleep in fucking warehouses filled with lead and asbestos and with no fucking.
Oh no! It's even better than that. It's illegal. It is a crime. It is a jailable offense to leave your pet out in the cold. But if you bring a person in from the cold, then they'll take your fucking house. Yeah. That's exactly what this is.
Thank you, government.
Thank you, government. This is Harry Brown's quote. Like Harry Brown said that government is good at one thing. It's breaking your leg and handing you a crutch and saying, see if it weren't for us, you wouldn't be able to walk.
Yep.
That's exactly what this is. This is the government breaking these people's legs and saying, oh, go to the shelter. Let us help you at the shelter.
Yeah.
There's no shelter in the neighborhood, as the guy said, is the voluntary. So he was operating as a shelter and helping these people stay out of the cold. I didn't see any of the homeless complaining.
Yeah.
I bet you none of the homeless are bitching about the unfinished basement.
So because of potential, like this outside potential for some calamitous event to occur, you can't legitimately save somebody's life from fucking exposure tonight.
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here. Jesus.
That's exactly what it is. It's like these people. This guy voluntarily offered his home. These people are voluntarily
in those kind of temperatures.
People are voluntarily sleeping in his basement to avoid sleeping on the cold ass concrete.
Yeah,
in negative degree temperatures.
Yeah.
In fucking January in Chicago.
I've been in Chicago in January. It is no fucking joke. That shit is cold as fuck. I went to boot camp and I got there January 16th at Great Lakes in Chicago, the Great Lakes Naval Training Station. We couldn't be outside to march or anything without these like tri-folded scarves that we had to wear around our mouths so that the vapor from our breath wouldn't freeze in our fucking lungs. Chicago is fucking cold this time of year. Like deadly cold. So fucking cold.
Yeah,
and because there could be a fire, you can't let somebody sleep in your fucking unfinished basement.
Yeah. God. Yep. Sorry, we can't. You can't save people's lives unless you have permits and licenses. You can't voluntarily help people unless you got the government's permission.
Just like all the responders that show up at natural disasters, hurricane, like the hurricane destruction zones, floods, things like that. just wanting to help people and get turned away because they're not fucking licensed to do that kind of work.
Yeah, there was a really really good case of in Houston with after Harvey, the people with the big swamp buggy.
Right.
Like they were turned away because their swamp buggy did not have registration.
Yep.
Like a swamp buggy, it is the perfect vehicle for that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they were turned away because they did not have a permit or sorry, because they got turned away because their buggy wasn't registered. And they protested.
Was that like a fan boat kind of thing?
No. It's a big lifted truck with like these big huge aluminum tires.
Right. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Right. It's supposed to like float on the marsh, or, right on top of the marsh.
Yep.
And they got turned away because the vehicle wasn't registered. Like it didn't have the state's little sticker on it. And they protested, "Hey, let us go save some people's lives." And the cop was like, "I'm in charge here. Get this out of here, or you're going to jail."
Oh my God.
Like he literally threatened them with jail time for trying to save someone's life.
And the people that were turned away from the Florida Keys who were trying to bring generators because they didn't have a fucking business license.
The food trucks. Food trucks were told to shut down because they did not have permits.
Yep.
Like these people just went through a hurricane. They're starving. There's no power. There's no gas. There's no way for these people to cook food. Oh, look, I have a food truck. Oh, you can't use it because you don't have the state's permission.
Right.
Like, I can't sell food out of my food truck after a hurricane, but this lady down the street can make burritos for the rescuers and pass those out, and it's fine.
Right.
Like, what's the difference?
Well, one has permission from the state and one doesn't.
Yeah. Well, you know where I stand on the state.
Yep, me too.
Yep. It rhymes with duck. Fuck the state. Bastards.
Yep. Rhymes with duck the paid.
Yep. Duck the plate.
Yep, duck the plate.
Duck the plate. That works. Yeah, that's just the people. Back to the article. Like you read all the time. People freezing to there are homeless dying tonight in the Northeast, and in the Midwest because of this cold. Like literally, like every single day you read the papers, there are people dying. Like 24 people last I checked from this cold spell. And they are freezing to death at night because they don't have any place to stay. This guy offered a place to stay, and they threatened to take his home,
right?
Because they didn't like the method in which he helped these people.
Right. Yeah, because he didn't follow their precious rules. That's no different than the cops in Denver taking homeless people's blankets to discourage them from sticking around.
Yeah, cutting the tents.
Yep.
Cutting the tents, taking their blankets.
Yep.
Yeah. Using water cannons to disperse. Yeah.
And freezing
assholes.
temperatures. Yeah.
Yep. Yay.
Yay.
Just doing our jobs.
That's right. Don't get mad at them. They're just doing their job. Get mad at the people who wrote these laws. How about I be mad at all of them? They're all complicit. I'm just saying.
If these people, if law enforcement did not comply with immoral, illegal, and unconstitutional laws, then politicians would be nothing more but figureheads jerking each other off, thinking about usurping our freedoms.
Yep.
Laws are just words on paper. That's all. Laws are just words on paper. They mean absolutely fucking nothing. I will wipe my ass with them.
Yeah.
But it is the people that believe in the state, the people that believe in these laws down to their very core, that believe these laws, these regulations, these edicts trump morality, trump legality, trump.
Or worse, believe that these edicts and these fucking opinions written on paper equate to morality. If it's
morality,
law,
yes.
It's moral. If it's law, then I'm doing the right thing by following it and by enforcing it. That makes me fucking crazy. Prima
God,
nocta
that
was
is
law. Slavery was law. Apartheid was law. I mean,
that
come the
is
fuck
such
on.
that is such a perfect segue, Derica. You have no idea.
Yay.
More than 60 people arrested for less than an ounce of marijuana.
What a fabulous use of taxpayer resources.
It gets
Fighting a
worse.
plant.
They all got arrested for the same less than an ounce.
Nuh-uh.
More than 60 people attending a lingerie-themed house party in Georgia on New Year's Eve were arrested and charged with possessing less than an ounce of marijuana.
Collectively, less than an ounce.
Collectively.
Holy shit.
Like,
oh my God.
Okay.
You know how fast 60 people could smoke an ounce of weed? I mean, that should be gone.
When Cartersville's police responded to reports of gunfire at a Cartersville home at 2:18 a.m. Sunday, they saw marijuana in plain sight and recovered a semi-automatic handgun, according to a statement from the Bartow Cartersville Police Drug Task Force. When no one claimed the marijuana as their own, police decided to arrest everyone on the premises.
They punished the whole class.
According to the parent of one party goer who spoke to WSB TV, at least 66 people aged 15 to 31 were arrested because the marijuana was, quote, within everyone's reach.
Nuh-uh, you can't get 60 people like within arm's length of an ounce of weed. Look, an ounce of weed, like we're talking like, this is going to be a parcel for anybody who may not know. That's like this big, right? It's not huge.
No.
Okay. And you can't get 60 people within our arm's reach of this. It's not like it's like a fucking long buffet table and everybody can put a hand on it. They're just punishing the whole class because everybody at the party basically told them to go fuck themselves. Nobody owned up to it. And so they were like, fuck it, let's arrest everybody. That shit'll never hold up in court, though. It fucking can't.
The 21st birthday party held at a home rented through Airbnb advertised Jello shots, beer pong, and strip twister, according to an invitation obtained by
lit 21st birthday party.
Many of those arrested claimed they were mistreated by police, according to WSB TV, and an NAACP announced it would be investigating, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Quote, a good majority of those individuals are college students and members of the U.S. military who were visiting home over the holiday break. Others were working citizens who lost their jobs in the second they walked into work this morning, according to Raquel McGee of the Fulton County Public Defender's. So yes, less than an ounce of marijuana was sitting in plain sight.
What state was
and
this in again?
Because of that, what's that?
What state was this in again?
Georgia.
Oh, Jesus.
I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Georgia.
Yep. Still south of the Bible Belt.
Let's see.
I swear. Some of these southern states, man,
yeah,
they're
Georgia.
so fucking repressed.
Yeah, it was in Georgia. So there was less than an ounce of weed, like sitting on the table or something. And because nobody copped to it, the police arrested all 66 people and charged all 66 people with possessing the exact same piece of evidence.
Oh my God. I hope they get fucking spanked. I hope they get spanked in lawsuits in civil court. I hope they get absolutely fucking twisted into pretzels.
Oh, it's gonna be hilarious. Like I want to, like, if there was ever a jury trial I wanted to sit on.
Yep.
This is what I want to sit on. And how can 66 people?
Yeah. And
how can 66 people be charged with possessing the exact same piece of evidence?
Yep.
Not copies, not different copies of the same evidence. No, the exact same piece of evidence.
And it's not like they all had 1/66th of this ounce on their persons. I'm guessing it was one baggie that was sitting at the party in nobody's actual possession.
And, yep, sitting on the table or something.
Yeah, and then they just charged everybody.
Yeah, it's like charging everybody for this cup, right? Like everybody, 66
everybody
people
in your apartment complex.
Everybody in the apartment complex right here is blamed for this cup.
Right.
Even though there's only one cup.
Right.
Everybody's to blame for
it. Like, Jesus.
And that's not even going into the fact that it's cannabis in the first place, right?
Right.
I mean, if you're arresting people for cannabis, just go bang your head into the wall and kill some brain cells.
Sessions is going nuts though. Kevin was talking to me about how hard even they hear about it in their circles at work and stuff like that. And he's just fucking gunning for the cannabis industry. And Kevin was like, I hope your sister, because she's like one of the most successful dispensaries in Oregon. And he was like, I hope your sister's putting money aside for legal defense and, and stuff like that. Because Sessions is going after these places. He's fucking gunning for it hard. And what, can we stop? I mean, if we must have some kind of governing body, can we stop filling it with fucking dinosaurs? People who haven't fucking bothered to keep up with what's going on around here. Can we at least not have those assholes?
Sessions is an asshole, man. He's just,
oh my God.
He's totally forcing his own subjective morality on everybody else, which is what all politicians do. Yes, all politicians do that. But the worst part is Sessions was never even elected.
Right, he's an appointee. I know.
Right, he's an appointee.
Yeah, and he's got
which is a whole another level of fuck you.
Yeah, and he has that self-righteous baby boomer thing going on. The self-righteous like fruity fucking stuck-up tight-assed thing going on. And yeah, and he watched Reefer Madness too many times, I guess.
Yeah, one of the greatest memes I've seen the past couple days. It shows Sessions with this like dejected kind of look on his face, and it says that one time in the '60s when your girl was taken by that pot smoking hippie guy.
Right, when your girl left you for the pot smoking hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. I like the old man yells at plant one too.
Oh yeah, the Simpsons.
The Simpsons newspaper. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, Sessions like this arrest is just the whole war on drugs. As we know, the whole war on drugs is a complete failure, right? I mean, it's a $1 trillion failure that has actually made society worse.
We would like to congratulate drugs for winning the war on drugs.
It's the multi-time winner. It's the Usain Bolt.
Right? It just keeps fucking spanking the government. The government just keeps coming back for more.
Yep.
But it's big business. The war on drugs is big fucking money for government contractors and shit. They've spent trillions and trillions on it with absolutely no change in the addiction rate.
No, they've made it worse, right? Through the manufactured opiate crisis, through locking people up for cannabis, for simple possession, right? Breaking up homes, right? Like all these people that are raised in single parent homes because their dads are in jail or their mother's in jail for drugs.
Yeah.
Right? Drugs has no victim.
They're the largest prison population on the fucking planet thanks to the war on drugs.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. This year alone, this is this year. This is okay. So as of December 8th, 2007, or 2017. So in 2017, the pharmaceutical industry spent $209 million on lobbying.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And you know what they lobby for, America? What do you think the pharmaceutical industry lobbies for?
Yep.
They lobby for tougher sanctions against
Let's see.
illicit drugs. They lobby to keep marijuana illegal. They lobby competition.
Between 1998 and 2017, so last 20 years, the last 20 years, the pharmaceutical industry has spent $3.716 billion on lobbyists. Yeah, that's opensecrets.org. The three people watching this, if you do not know that website, you really, really need to go check it out.
And that's not just on lobbying against legalization of, heretofore illicit drugs. It's also lobbying against any of their competition, like the guy that invented the way cheaper EpiPen. Like they'll lobby against people like that. They'll have them regulatorily just completely drummed out of business. I mean, they're just shutting down their competition left and right. They're lobbying for favorable laws in whatever state their headquarters are in. These are fucking crooked ass people. Why do we think that the only safe or good drugs to take come from these assholes?
It's the very definition of corporatism.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is. They have fucking criminalized nature, for God's sake. And that is so fucking stupid. And people think it's for our own safety. Oh, because those things are dangerous. Oh my God.
Not only have they criminalized nature, but they lobbied and paid for legislation to legalize synthetic nature.
Right.
Which is freaking dangerous and scary on a whole different level, right? I mean, that's like fake nature. It's synthetic nature, right? This is like the aspartame of sugar, right? I mean, aspartame to sugar, right? Aspartame is a huge cancer killer or a huge cancer causer.
It is. Right? Aspartame is fucking poison.
It is so bad that they changed the name to get away from it, to get away from the name aspartame.
Sweet love.
Yeah, I mean they help keep nature illegal, and then created a synthetic nature.
Right, chemicals that are supposed to mimic the nature that they made illegal.
Yes,
but we get them from them, so we have to pay them for them.
Yes. Yep. Keep pot illegal so they can keep shoving Vicodin and oxycodone and Percocets and all that other bullshit down their throats.
Right.
No. Which, as we know, like the people that own the copyright on oxycodone, they've made like $8 billion in the last decade.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, they're rich as fuck.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yep. And how many opioid addictions are they responsible for?
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot. So.
Oh yeah.
While I still got the site open, the last 20 years, pharmaceutical industries that we talked about, $3.716 billion. The next highest industry, insurance, $2.579 billion.
Yep. If they could take your health out of your hands and make you come begging to them for it, they can squeeze every last fucking nickel out of every one of us. And that's exactly what they're fucking doing.
Yep. I don't know how we keep doing this, Jerica, but another good segue.
Oh, good. Yay.
This is another great segue if this article will come up. Come on, article. There you are. People are taking Ubers to the hospital instead of ambulances.
Yeah, I think that's fucking brilliant.
Right? It totally makes sense because of the lobbying that the health industry does and the lack of competition. Right? Ambulances are crazy expensive.
Yeah, like $3,000.
It's a $3,000 ride for an ambulance, or you could take a $30 Uber.
Yep.
Well, yeah, sign me up.
Even a $50 Uber if the ambulance is in the next town over. You're still coming out ahead.
Yep. If you thought Uber If you thought Uber was only for getting home from the bar safely, you're wrong. As it turns out, more and more people are now calling Uber instead of 911 to get to hospitals. A University of Kansas research paper published December 13th looked at 766 cities and 43 states across America between 2013 and 2015 to identify how often people have used the car service over an ambulance. Co-author David Slutsky, S-L-U-S-K-Y, PhD, and assistant professor of economics at the University of Kansas, and Leon, whose last name I'm not going to even try and pronounce, an internist at Scripps Mercy Hospital in San Diego, found that ambulance usage declined at least 7% during those 2 years. My guess is it will go up a little bit and stabilize at 10 to 15% as Uber continues to expand as an alternative for people.
For some people. Now, let's be really clear about this. There are some things you absolutely have to call an ambulance for.
Yes.
If you were someone who's having a heart attack.
That's actually the next paragraph.
Oh, okay.
However, Uber said that calling one of the drivers shouldn't replace calling an ambulance in an emergency situation. We're grateful our service has helped people get where they're going when they need it most, said Uber spokesman Andrew Hashburn. However, it is important to note that Uber is not a substitute for law enforcement or medical professionals. In the event of any medical emergency, we always encourage people to dial 911.
Right. Like you fall down the stairs and break your leg, call an Uber to get to the hospital. If you're having a fucking stroke or a heart attack, call paramedics. Like fast, quick, and in a hurry, because they can help you while you're on your way to the hospital, and they have sirens.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not appropriate for every situation. But if you don't have anybody to drive you to the hospital and you can't drive there yourself, but it's not life-threatening, and Uber is a good option.
Yeah, Dr. Moscato, Moskatl.
Oh, I thought you said Moscato.
No, I don't. Moscato. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Okay.
That many people, quote, tend to be pretty good at assessing their state and how quickly they need to come in and how sick they are. In other words, they rely on an ambulance for more extreme cases, but are more likely to call an Uber for something less serious, especially if they don't have the money for an ambulance. Quote, they have to think about their health and what it's going to cost. As for many of us with high deductible plans, an ambulance ride would cost thousands of dollars. And Slutsky agrees. Quote, if we want to reduce healthcare spending, we have to find a way to do things cheaper. And that's in all kinds of situations where you don't need the most expensive resources. We don't all need to fly first class all the time. Right, and that's exactly what it comes down to. I mean, a $30 Uber ride or a $3,000 ambulance ride.
Yep.
Give me the Uber every time, every single time.
Yeah, unless I'm
having a heart attack, in which case,
right,
just roll me into the gutter and leave me. Don't worry about it.
Right. Anaphylactic shock, shit like that. Yeah, I'll call an ambulance.
Yeah, I mean, if I can see my intestines poking out through the hole made by some random guy with a knife, call 911. It's okay.
Right.
There's a huge difference between an emergency situation and non-emergency situation.
Right. There's such a huge line between urgent and emergency.
Yes.
But in most cases, an urgent situation will still send you to the ER. It's just not life-threatening, not immediately life-threatening.
No. So. And again, this goes back to through corporatism and lobbying and laws regarding competition and free market. When you have restrictions placed on companies, you need permits and licenses and all this other BS to be an ambulatory service. The more ambulatory services you have in a given area, the cheaper it is because they are competing for your dollar.
Right.
And
the better service you get, and the lower the wait times are, and the more patients they can treat successfully because they have less less of a load because it's being shared and distributed through all the different
Absolutely,
ambulatory
but
service providers.
yeah, but like we have it now, like I believe that there are only I think there's only 2 ambulatory services here in my area, one to each hospital, and they're like a 25-minute wait. I want to say. I think that
Mary
that's
Washington in Fredericksburg, Mary Washington, they are the only. I forget what the trauma levels are, but they're like the highest trauma level hospital in the state. So they get all the life flights and everything like that from all over. You go to the ER there, and that's the closest one to us. When we have to go to the ER, that's where we have to go. And if you go to that ER, you're looking at 3 or 4 hours before you get even seen by anyone.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's so terrible. Like
before they'll even take your vitals, you're looking at a 3 to 4 hour wait.
See, and in a free market, we wouldn't have that at all. It would be the complete opposite. Like in a truly free market, you would have an on-call nurse. Like you could like ordering a pizza, you could call up a service and be like, "Hey, my kid is this and this and this and this," and they'll be like, "Okay, we'll send somebody to your house."
And Mary Washington has a nurse hotline that you can call, and they'll advise you about whether you need to come into the ER or not. But more often than not, they suggest that you do. And you know, of course they do. Cover your own ass situation so they don't get sued.
Yeah.
But I will say, lately there have been a lot of urgent care centers popping up around the area, and that's kind of reduced the wait time at the ER a little bit. But still, it's still fucking ridiculous. It's
it reminded me of an article I posted earlier. Theresa May, the chancellor out there in Germany, they have socialized medicine. She just had to make a public apology because they just canceled like 40,000 different surgeries, that like planned surgery for people that need a surgery.
Yeah.
Not emergency surgeries.
Right.
But like planned surgeries. They just canceled like 40,000 surgeries because they don't have the beds, number one, and number two, the rooms are needed for quote emergency care.
Yeah.
And they are a socialized medicine, right? So that is like that is the utmost in government controlled medicine.
And you know what's funny about the German system though is it also accepts private insurance. And if you have private insurance in Germany, you get treated like fucking royalty at the hospitals. You do. Oh yeah.
It's a two-tier system.
I know military members, American military members in Germany, they always get a private room in the hospital. They always get like the hospital concierge and stuff because they have TRICARE, which is considered private insurance by the German hospital system.
That's a trip.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like our government insurance counts as private insurance in Germany.
God, I couldn't imagine the government insurance in Germany then.
Yeah, no shit.
And the other part of that article, yeah, some of these people were waiting 3, 4, 5 months for this surgery, and then it's canceled.
Yep.
Because they have a socialized medicine. They do not have a competitive market that can help absorb all these people that need it. It's just about as Canada. Like I have my friend Sage. She works at a hospital near Vancouver. And she tells me horror stories. Like she tells me like serious horror stories about people waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Like and having to wait on basic medicines. Like she used to be a nurse and now she's working in the pharmaceutical distribution area of the hospital. And like they have to wait. Like they have to wait for like basic medicines because it has to come from a central hub because it's all government controlled. There's no efficiency to it.
Yep. And you know what? We have the perfect example here in the US of socialized medicine and how wonderful it is.
Yay, VA.
Yeah, fuck the VA. My God.
No. My brother waiting 6 months to get his knee looked at and had infection so bad they had to put a stent in.
Yeah. This wasn't even the VA. This was Navy Medical, but they waited 3 years to give me an MRI. And they could because they were the fucking bosses. They controlled everything, and I had no say as a patient.
Nope.
And by the time they finally gave me an MRI, my left leg was dead.
Yay, government!
Yay. A simple fucking fix for my herniated discs back when I first asked them for an MRI. Nope. And I walked around on that, worked on it, worked out on it for 3 years while it was doing its damage the whole time.
And how long did the MRI take? Like 45 minutes?
Yeah. But you know, Captain Yale needed his fucking tennis elbow done in the MRI machine. So, of course, a little peon like me didn't rate a fucking spot for my back injury.
Well, bastards.
Nepotism and elitism is alive and well. All through this government, all through everything, even touching on the military, all of it. It's so bad. There is zero equality to be had anywhere. And it's supposed to all be equality of a kind. You know what I mean? It's basically socialism. The military is. We're all supposed to be equal in the eyes of, you know, our value to this country and the military and stuff like that. That's not how it fucking works. That's not. And anybody who thinks socialism is a good idea, look at the fucking military. Look at how it's run. Look at the VA. Look at how it's run.
Look at Venezuela. Socialism. Look at Venezuela. Venezuela, their medical insurance industry is completely collapsed. Their dollar is completely collapsed. People are resorting to prostitution in order to get money to eat. They're
trading memes as a means of currency because their own currency isn't fucking worth the paper it's printed on.
There's an article just the other day about Venezuela, which has socialized medicine. People using diamonds and jewels, like their jewelry, their grandmother's jewelry, using that as barter in order to get medical care.
Jesus.
Like bribing their way to the front of the list type of thing. And this is in a country without enough diapers. Like they don't have diapers. They don't have diapers.
Yeah.
Socialized medicine. Socialism itself is a complete failure.
Yeah.
A free market.
Collectivism is failure. And I'll tell you exactly why collectivism is failure. Let's go totally into the realm of metaphor here. I am a trained lifeguard. I was trained as a lifeguard years and years and years ago. I was on swim team my whole life. If you see somebody who is drowning, you do not go and help them unless you have a flotation device with you. And do you know why? Because they are panicked and they will drag you under with them and you will both die.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot stay afloat if somebody is pulling you down with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
why
collectivism
will push you down.
Fails. Yeah. And that's exactly why collectivism fails. You can't tie your fate so inflexibly to other people, because as they rise and fall, you do too, and you have no free movement to adjust. You know what you have to have the movement and freedom to make these micro adjustments to your own life so that you can stay afloat. And when you tie yourself to somebody else so rigidly, like you do with collectivism, everybody fucking drowns. Everybody. One person starts drowning, the entire fucking group drowns.
Yep. Socialism is a race to the bottom.
Yep. Like a fucking stone.
Yep. And anybody that doesn't believe that, just look at Venezuela. Look at what's doing right now. Socialism. Like Bernie Sanders championed socialism. The guy has 3 houses and wore a $700 suit or $700 jacket to an award ceremony the other day. I mean,
yeah, running as isn't this awesome? I love this irony. Running as a socialist presidential candidate is the best bit of business Bernie Sanders ever fucking did.
you know he's never had a real job.
Oh, I remember reading that. Yeah, he's never
like
Karl Marx.
going back to college. Like he like from the time he was in college, he was a politician, like at a local level politician, and just kept getting bigger. He's never had a real job. He's never worked a paycheck to paycheck 40-hour shift.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. The guy fucking honeymooned in Moscow.
Boy, that's rough. He really understands the little person, doesn't he?
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. I'm sure he's laughing his ass off from his third home right now.
He's fucking laughing all the way to the bank.
Yep.
Just like every fucking socialist leader ever.
Oh, yep.
He's laughing all the
Speaking of dumbass politician Democrats, Elijah Cummings and Elijah Cummings and Elizabeth Warren. This is fantastic. Like this.
I'm always happy to hear.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
Yeah, Pocahontas. All right, this. There's no way to segue into this one. This is just absolutely fantastic. It is an epic fail, and I damn near wet myself laughing at it. All right. Okay. Covert operation requested by anti-gun Dems to bust illegal internet sales comes up empty. An investigation requested by two fierce anti-gun members of the Congress to determine if firearms are purchased illegally from internet dealers has come up empty. Maryland Congressman Elijah Cummings and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren demanded the probe in the aftermath of the mass shootings, and the investigative arm of Congress, the GOA, that is the Government Accountability Office, conducted a lengthy covert operation to try to purchase firearms illegally from internet dealers. All 72 of congressional investigators' attempts to purchase firearms illegally via the surface web were unsuccessful. Yeah, slamming Cummins and Warren's claims that guns are easily obtained by criminal elements on the internet. Quote, all of our attempts to purchase firearms from private sellers on the surface webs were unsuccessful, the GOA writes in an extensive report. Quote, our covert testing involving GAO agents attempting to purchase firearms illegally on the surface web were unsuccessful. Specifically, private sellers on surface web, gun forums, and in classified ads were unwilling to sell a firearm to our agents that self-identified as being prohibited from possessing a firearm. Most of the sellers refused to complete a transaction once undercover investigators revealed either a shipping address across state lines or a prohibition by law from obtaining firearms. 5 of the vendors went so far as to freeze the undercover GAO account and preventing agents from using their firearms attempting to make a purchase. In their ardent push to ban guns, Cummings and Warren, both high-profile Democrats, questioned whether the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, which should be a convenience store, was enforcing gun laws involving transactions facilitated by the internet. The lawmakers asked the GAO to investigate whether online private sellers sell firearms to prohibited individuals. The probe was conducted from July 15th to November 2017 in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards. It turns out that the ATF's Internet Investigation Center created to investigate buyers and sellers who use the internet to facilitate illegal arms transactions is indeed doing its job effectively. Quote, the center used several tools.
Criminals just don't fucking do shit on the open web, you dipshit.
which is hilarious. Like, I absolutely fucking geeked over that, and I laughed so hard for so long that my stomach hurt. And I had to get up and run to the bathroom.
But at the same time, it makes me a little sick in my stomach because how many, what kind of resources did they fucking waste on this?
Oh, they wasted a lot of tax dollars on that.
Jesus.
Right? I mean, this was 2 years, just over 2 years, right? 72 different attempts. That's 72 different fake profiles that had to be made, that had to be backstopped, that had to have bank accounts, etc., etc.
That's a lot of work.
That had to be known in these forums in order to even attempt to buy it.
That is a lot of work. Just making a sock account on Facebook takes like 2 days.
Which I wouldn't know anything about.
Right. Jason's the last person on Facebook that doesn't have a sock. It used to be Jason and I, but then I caught that 3-day ban, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm done with this. I need a sock account." Which is Bender Rodriguez, by the way. Anyway,
yep.
Wants to friend a sock account.
Yep. Zuckerberg's looking it up right now.
Yeah,
bastard. Zuck can get fucked.
That guy's a faggot.
Yeah, 72 different attempts to buy firearms. After admittingly, that has to be the huge key right there, right? They admitted that they were prohibited by law from owning a firearm, or were across state lines.
Right.
No criminal, number one, no criminal is ever going to admit those things.
Yeah.
Right? If nobody nobody goes in to rob a store and be like, "Hey, I'm not allowed to have this firearm, but put your hands up and give me your money." Right. So that was a huge red flag there. So number one, that's just, it was retarded on their part, and I know why they did it. Right, I know why they did it. It was so that they could say that they were this,
right,
and then weren't able to do it. But I absolutely love that they got shut down. 72 attempts. 72 attempts got absolutely nothing.
And people don't do illegal shit on the open web. Not like firearms dealers, you know. They're not going to do illegal shit on the open web. Sorry. I mean.
Yeah, not only are people not going to buy illegally on the internet, they're not going to sell illegally on the surface internet.
No, that's the biggest thing. Like, you won't find somebody who's going to sell illegally. You can find a million people that want to buy something illegally on the internet. You're just not going to find many people that will sell something illegally on the open web, where all these asshole undercover agents could fucking hit them for it. You know, it's like we don't know that you assholes do this kind of shit. You know, everybody fucking knows by now that you guys do undercover stings. I mean, it's not exactly a secret.
I guess the only way now to really get an illegal gun is to go join a cartel and buy one from the federal government.
That's right. Those aren't illegal.
Operation Gunwalker.
Those aren't illegal. They're just lost.
they were redistributed.
They were sent to freedom fighters. Indefinitely.
They're dreamer firearms. That's what it is.
Right.
They didn't want to be restricted, so they went to Mexico.
Yeah.
So, all right, I only got one more link to you.
Yeah.
And then
boy, we get through this a lot faster when Dan and Mark aren't on here yapping their traps, huh?
Yeah.
Being all funny as shit, wasting all our time.
I missed the banter, though. I missed the inappropriate jokes.
Me too. Those fuckers better be on here next time.
Oh, they better be.
It's just
they better fucking be. No. Next week is the one before my birthday too, so they better fucking be here.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. Well, not next week. Week after next. We always call it next week or last week when it's really 2 weeks between shows.
Well, if we do it next week like originally scheduled, that'll be the one before. If we do it 2 weeks, it'll be the one after my birthday.
If we do it next week, I won't be able to be there.
That's right, because you're gonna go get the puppies from Rebecca.
Yeah. We might be back at our house by then, but I'll be fucking worn out. And you'll have 2 little puppies. Yeah.
Although I've seen pictures of the dogs, they are not little puppies.
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not.
So you'll have squealing little boys and barking puppies.
I'll still be the only goddamn female in this house.
You'll still rule the house, though.
That's right. I always have, and I always will.
Just no puppies in the hot tub.
Right.
Yeah. And
I've already got their little area set up for them because, you know, I can be a little bit type A about this kind of shit. So, like, I've already got their little area set out. I've already got, like, their training program all planned out and shit like that. So, yeah, I'm all set up.
And you can still hide in your car, in your SUV. You'll be okay.
That's true. Yeah. Still sit out there and smoke on cold nights. I'm not joking, though. Like, fucking sue me, environmentalists, but I ran like 3/4 of a tank of gas out of my Navigator this week, sitting out there with it running while I was smoking because it was so fucking cold. So,
bastards.
They don't care.
That's right. You're not from Oregon. You know how to fill your own tank.
I'm from Oregon. I haven't lived there since I was 20.
But you know how to fill your own tank, so you're okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the military had to teach me. It was really, really rigorous training. But
you did. So you don't put the green gas in?
No.
Have you seen those videos?
Uh-huh.
Or the pictures?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Yeah. No, I don't put the green gas in. The nice thing about a Navigator is that it's the only like luxury.
You cut out there for that entire sentence, do you?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was just saying I know what kind of gas to put in my car. It actually takes regular. It's the only luxury SUV brand that takes regular instead of premium.
Woohoo! That saves $1.
Yes, it does.
Oh.
Yes, it does.
All right, let's go on this last one because I really feel like getting angry.
Okay.
And I posted this one on my wall earlier. You might have seen it or not, but
yeah, maybe. I haven't been on Facebook.
American and a couple other people commented on it, and Merrick was pissed.
Uh-oh.
Like Merrick was pissed. It was
That's got to be bad to piss him off. He's such an affable guy.
Senate candidate. This guy isn't even a fucking politician. Senate candidate from Texas wants to make year of service to country mandatory.
Move to fucking North Korea then, asshole. Jesus.
Yeah, Corsicana, Texas. This is the best part. Democratic Senate candidate Beto O'Rourke hopes to introduce a bill to Congress this year that require all young people to spend at least a year in service to this country. O'Rourke, who currently represents the 16th District of Texas, which includes El Paso, held a city hall in Corsicana on Thursday and shared his ideas with those in attendance. O'Rourke's idea would require, quote, every young person, regardless of their socioeconomic background, to serve their country in some way, whether it be military service, a medical unit, a teaching unit, etc. The Texas congressman said he has been searching for bipartisan support on his bill and may have found a Republican colleague to help him introduce the bill early as this year.
I bet he had no trouble finding a fucking Republican and back that shit up, too. See, people think that they're different, but they're fucking not. Republicans and Democrats, they're the same goddamn thing.
Yep.
They're just different cheeks of the same ass. Is that what you were just going to say? Great lines, Jason.
Yep, two cheeks on the same ass, spewing the same bullshit.
Yep.
Quote, one last idea on this, and I'm trying to find a Republican colleague. I may have one, and I hope to announce it soon. It will help me introduce this into this Congress this year, and that it is a national service bill that will require every young person, no matter how wealthy or how poor, to spend at least a year of their lives in service to the country, in a military unit, a conservation corps unit, in a medical unit, in a teaching unit, in some way that they're going to help make this country better and stronger and have to sacrifice together and leave with a shared understanding of who we are as a people and no kid is going to be rich enough to buy their way out of it.
Fuck you.
O'Rourke's idea.
Fuck you.
O'Rourke's idea was interrupted by applause from those who gathered to hear him speak.
Oh my
God. O'Rourke's ideas are explored in H.R. 3104, a bill introduced to the House in June that he co-sponsored. H.R. 3104
Wait, I thought
titled.
He was just a candidate.
He's a member of the House. He's a candidate. He's a Democratic candidate.
Okay.
Senatorial candidate.
Okay.
So H.R. 3104, titled Action for National Service Act, would give those who complete, quote, a term of full-time national service an award equal to twice the amount of tuition for the institution of higher education where the individual is enrolled, not to exceed twice the average in-state tuition. So he wants to require people to spend a year in service to this country, and in return, they would get a scholarship to a higher institution, to a college or whatever else. Yeah. North Korea called. They want their idea back.
No shit.
Venezuela called. They want their idea back. Yeah. Right? Like,
doesn't Sweden do that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of countries that do it, and it is totally counter to freedom. Like, this has nothing. This is totally counter to the idea of freedom.
It is fucking slavery.
It is slavery. That's exactly what it is. It is state mandated slavery. Yep. Right? My kids turn 18 in February. Under this bill, they would be required to spend a year once they graduate high school. They would be required to spend a year in service to their country. The same country that enforces bullshit laws at the point of a gun with the threat of throwing them in a fucking cage or shooting them in the face if they resist.
The same country that sticks their nose in international affairs and starts wars overseas and that needs fucking young, fresh meat to throw at enemy troops.
Yes.
You really think it's a good idea to give
wars overseas for private corporate profit
interests? Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the people who fucking approve the wars in Washington have majority shareholder interest in these fucking defense companies. Or they have an interest in the resources.
Yes. Yeah. McCain has huge corporate ties in Lockheed Martin and General Electric.
Mm-hmm. What about
Halliburton? Halliburton. Bush had huge contract or huge deals with oil companies. That's where the Bushes got their money, was from oil deals.
Yeah. And of course, they all have ties to the central bank, of course. And the central bank has their games to play with all of this as well. So it's just not. Oh my God, America, fucking wake up! They want to make it mandatory that you surrender your children to them to be fucking thrown away for their own agendas.
Not only that, like my other thought on this is this was a direct shot at Trump.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right, Trump dodged the draft 4 different times. Because he was because of college or he had a doctor sign a thing that saying he couldn't do it. So that's what this like. He specifically points out socioeconomic standing.
Yeah.
So this is number one. It's a direct shot at Trump. Right. So number 2, it puts my fucking children's lives at jeopardy.
Yeah.
Because this guy is pissed off at Trump.
Yeah. We got a 16 and a 15-year-old boy. You know, fuck you assholes.
Yep.
I've already taken them out of, the kids, the ones that live with us, out of all of our kids. We've taken them out of government schools. We don't want anything fucking from you. Mm-hmm. Leave us the fuck alone. My kids are mine, not yours. You have no right to them. And as soon as they're adults, they belong to them. They're not even mine anymore. They are their own.
Yeah. I'm gonna read Merrick's.
Right.
I'm gonna read Merrick's comment on my post of it.
Okay.
And I could not agree more. I could not agree more. It said, quote, "If you come around here for my children, you will die on my doorstep. This is non-negotiable. If you were looking for a hill, if you were looking for a hill I'm willing to die on, you just found it."
Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, I could not agree more.
No. Yeah.
Like, I've like my kids. We talked about this with my kids, both being 18 soon in February. They both have to register for selective service, and we got the bags ready.
Yep.
If their number gets called, we're gone. Period. My kids are not going to go fight in foreign wars. Are not going to go invade a foreign country for corporate greed.
That's a line
No.
you just do not cross
Nope.
against me.
Nope.
I will fucking
Nope.
shoot as many of you as I can
Yep.
before I die.
Yep. I'll die in the woods. I'll die on a pile of hot brass.
Yep.
If that's how it has to be done, that's how it has to be done.
Yep.
Go read or go listen to the latest episode of Liberty Under Attack with me, Shane Radliff, and Ben Stone.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that exact thing.
Yep.
We talked about that exact thing. Yeah, libertyunderattack.com, I think it is.
That was a great episode. It took me a while to listen to the whole thing. I had to listen to it in bits and pieces throughout my day, but it was great.
It turned out to be a long episode. Like, recording it,
yeah.
It literally, like, it turned out. I think it was like 2 hours and change, or like an hour 50, something like that. But when we were recording it, it literally felt like half an hour. Like, it felt very, very fast to record it. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be a long. Like, he was gonna cut it down in like a 2-part episode, mm-hmm. And just ended up doing one. But yeah, we kind of pushed the limits on that one. Like, if you have to read a legal statute before you say anything, then you're kind of pushing the limits.
Right. Yeah, it is. It was thought-provoking. Mm-hmm. Very thought-provoking. You guys talked about some topics that most people wouldn't even be comfortable hearing somebody talk about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's my thing, is no thoughts should ever be off limits. Thoughts and words. I mean, God, this is how we work through, the problems as we see them.
Thoughts and words only have power if you allow them to have power.
Exactly. And it was an extremely thought-provoking episode, and everybody should listen to it.
Mm-hmm. It was a damn fun episode, and I got to talk to Ben fucking Stone, which was like the highlight of my year.
Right.
I know. That was a really good. That was a good week. Like, I got to record with Merrick on Seeds of Liberty, and then recorded with you guys on Sunday, and then Wednesday I recorded with Shane Radliff and Ben Stone on Liberty Under Attack.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
That's quite a week.
And then Christmas was right after that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a hell of a good 10 days. Good way to end the year.
Yeah. But Merrick did put that perfectly. If you were looking for the hill that I'm willing to die on, mm-hmm. That's the one.
Yep, that would be the one.
Yep. Yeah.
My kids are not in school for a reason. Because they are not state property. They are not government property. They do not owe the government a goddamn thing. And I'm willing to enforce that.
How do they even know if you don't register for the selective service?
I don't know.
I don't
birth
know that they actually
birth certificates, social security numbers.
Yeah, I don't know that they actually
things like that.
Like aggressively enforce that. You know what I mean?
So. I'm sure they got their ways.
Yeah.
It's the government. I wouldn't put anything past them.
Yeah, I know.
all those
have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, all those servers they got in the Utah data center, they got to be good for something.
Right. Yeah. We're shying there.
Yeah, kids. So.
Well, I know we're kind of not at our usual length. We're at about an hour and a half now.
That's not too bad. It's not too bad, just you and I.
Yeah.
No.
We can.
Yeah.
We can call it good here in a minute if you want.
Yeah. So.
I gotta lay down soon though. My back is still fucking killing me from this call.
So,
oh my god, dude. It was the most inelegant thing, and I wish somebody caught it on video. Holy shit!
That was like I had somebody message me and they're like, "Oh my god, did you really say that? Like you posted that you fell," and I was like, "First things first, are you okay?"
Right.
And you're like, "Oh yeah, I only scraped my shin or something like that," and I was like, right. "Did you get it on video?"
I just wrenched everything.
like, first things first, are you okay? You're good. You're okay. You're not hurt. Good. Right. Where's the video?
Right. Exactly.
Right. Like if you were hurt, if you broke your leg, oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Right. I'm glad you're okay. Blah 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 blah. And that would have been the end of it. That would have been the end of it.
If it was me and my little sister, it would be still. Where's the video?
Where's the video? Like once you're okay, I want to see the video.
Right. No, it was just I didn't even hit the ground. Like I had snow and ice built up on the bottom of my boot, on the foot that I can't really feel, the one with the nerve damage.
Uh-huh.
And I tried using it to step up on my running board. Like Declan was already buckled in his seat. All the groceries were already in the back of the car. And the car was on, and my purse was in the car, and I had nothing in my hands. And I tried to step up on the running board, and my foot just, pew, and I just went down, and like I had my elbows like up like this, and it just wrenched everything down my spine because my legs were like toes down way behind me out in the fucking parking lot. And I just was bent totally the wrong way. And I would bet it was fucking hilarious to see. Like maybe if somebody saw, maybe they would have peed themselves laughing. I bet it was hilarious. But with all my pre-existing spine conditions and shit, I wasn't a happy camper for a couple of days, and I'm really still not. So, you know, I feel like a pussy, but whatever. It is what it is. So,
yeah. That's right. That's what happens when we get old.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You're not as old as me. Just remember that.
By like 6 months. Or 4 months. It's
like 6 months.
No, it's like 6. It's 6.
Yeah. Freaking youngsters.
Yeah, I'm such a baby compared to you.
I'm old.
Yeah.
So damn old. I'm terrible. I'm old. I know.
Yeah. You're not the one that fell and fucking broke their hip in the grocery store parking lot. I didn't break anything. I pulled something in my hip though, because something in my hip still fucking hurts.
Nope, but I got drunk and fell off the back of a half pipe and dislocated my shoulder once.
Yeah, but you don't have to be old to do that.
That's true. I was like 17.
Right.
That was 9 feet. 9 feet's a long fall. I don't care how old you are.
I gave myself a concussion on a ropes course once when I was like 7 years old.
Oh my god! Concussion. My brother got a concussion banging his own head into the window.
Why?
Like he had this 73 F-250, big, massive, fucking like 4-speed with a granny gear.
Right.
Huge ass fucking metal truck, right? And we're at the red light, and there's a car full of Mormons next to us. Like you can see that they're Mormons, right? They got the ties and they got the books, right? And just my brother just screams like this autistic scream, dude. Bam! Bangs his head into the wall like he's having a seizure.
So he's trying to troll them and gave himself a concussion.
Yeah, he hit the window so hard that the truck rocked. Nice. And he gave himself a concussion and messed himself up for like 3 weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah, he had side effects from that one for like 4 months.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so now that I've told that story, I hope he doesn't.
Right.
Jim, how you doing, man? Mr. Jim Davidson commented. Yeah. He's a good guy.
Well, I don't know. I used to have to like get outdoors and actually fucking do something that would induce an adrenaline rush to manage to fucking hurt myself as badly as I do just slipping on my goddamn running board nowadays.
That's all it takes sometimes.
Oh my god, I know. I know. Meanwhile, Declan is out there running around while Kevin was shoveling snow the other day. Before salt is down on the driveway or anything. Slips, falls, basically fucking bounces right back off of the fucking driveway and back onto his feet. And doesn't feel anything. You know?
Declavore.
Yep. Yep. Nom 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 nomnivore.
Yep. The lost wild thornberry.
That's right. That kid, man, he is so wild. I love it. So wild, and he's so free. You know,
a wild clossberry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because he did get my last name.
Yeah, he's a wild clossberry.
Yeah.
All right, we've been on an hour and a half, you guys.
All right. Yep.
So I don't know if we're going to be next week or the week after, but we'll be back again with another exciting adventures of Dirica Falling and Anarchy Roundtable discussion. And hopefully Dan and Mark will fucking be here.
Just call me Grace, you guys. Just call me Grace.
All right. Peace.